Let's talk about the law of relativity. We just wrapped a 3-day event, Bob Proctor's live stream event, which is called The Science of Getting Rich, based on Wallace Wattles' book from the turn of the century, and those immutable laws of the universe still remain true today and always will be, hence immutable. There's something that stood out to me. I'm going to break down what I learned all week long, and I'm going to share one lesson a day. From day one, this one was the most profound lesson that I had learned thus far, and it reframes everything. So pay attention to this video. If you're interested in knowing how to shrink the size of the goal so that it seems small, then you're going to want to hang with me on this one, because this is a game changer. Not to use an overused term, but it changed the way that I'm looking at my goals, and hopefully it'll do the same thing for yours. So the law of relativity, how does this law allow us to step into our greatness? Well, let me share how this works. So the law of relativity states that nothing is good nor bad, but our thoughts make it so. In fact, Shakespeare, there's a quote that says that he said, nothing is good nor bad, but our thoughts make it so. What does that mean? It means that everything just is. The law of relativity, everything is. And it's not until we apply our labels based on our paradigms, and I'll do another video on paradigms. I think it's important that we all understand what a paradigm is, so I'll give you that context here today. A paradigm is a multitude of habits that are lodged in our subconscious mind, and they run almost exclusively our lives. So because it's a habit is something that happens subconsciously. And they run 95% of how we show up in the world. So they could be, a paradigm is mostly a way of thinking, which then produces a certain feeling, which then produces a certain action. The law of relativity states that nothing is good nor bad except for our thoughts think it's so. So there's something that happens. It is an event. It is neutral until we think about it a certain way. And the interesting thing is I can think about it this way. If I'm one person that has a certain set of paradigms, that is, let's say my paradigms are, how can I view this thing in the most positive light? What opportunities are buried in this? That's one viewpoint, one perception. But if I stand over here and I'm someone else, I'm going to see it from a completely different perspective, especially if I'm standing over here. So we have all different perspectives based on our paradigms, which are based on our upbringing, which is based on the subconscious programming. Mostly that happened between the ages of 0 and 7 when our subconscious minds were wide open. The law of relativity, nothing is good nor bad except for our thinking makes it so. Everything just is. Now this might be a challenge for some. When I first heard it, I thought, well, that's not right. There's clearly things that are big and clearly things that are small, until I took a step back and was able to look at it through a different lens, through a different perspective, which is perfect for this video. Think about this. If someone says, let's say someone lives in a big house, and someone says, "Ma, you have a big house." To the uninitiated, they would agree or disagree with that. But let's say they don't understand the law of relativity. They say, "Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, we do have a big house." Once you understand the law of relativity, the person that has the house that was deemed to be big, their response would be, "Is it? Is it?" You see, the reason is because, let's say it's a 4,000 square foot home. Of course, I'm going to default to square footage in homes because I'm in real estate as well. But understand this. Is the response for the person who's initiated, meaning they understand the law of relativity, because let's get in the car and let's drive to another neighborhood 2 miles away. And now we're in a neighborhood of 10,000 or 20,000 square foot homes, 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million, you name it. And they say, "Oh, I see. So your home wasn't big. It's all relative. So now let's take it the other direction. And now we have a 3-bedroom ranch, 1,200 square feet, modest." Someone's going to say, "Oh, you have a small home. You have a small home." To the initiated, they would reply, "Is it? Let's get in a plane and let's fly to an African village. And let's walk up to a hut that's about 200 square feet, thatch roofed, mud walls, 200 square feet, and its occupants are 8 people in the family, 200 square feet. You see, that ranch home, 1,200 square feet, someone labeled it. It's a label. Now think about, where did we get the label? Where are we getting the labels from? There is no big or small except for the labels that we apply based on our perspective from here or here. Where do we get our labels? Where do we get our thoughts from? Our thoughts, the way that we think about something, our perception is a paradigm. So we perceive the world in a certain way based on our paradigm, how we've been programmed to perceive that. Where someone would see a challenge, they'd say, move, I've got this, or let's go, let's find a path. The other one would say, oh, I don't know, this is really hard, this is super hard, I don't know how to do this. You see that? It's all based on perspective and how we perceive things, and that's based on the programming. So let's look at this. Big. Is it big? You see, big is only big compared to the next big. Small is only small compared to the next small or the other small. And suddenly we begin to see, naturally we're beginning to see the benefits of removing labels and looking at things just as is. Completely objective. Now, how does this apply to goals? This is the real point behind this. It's not the real point, but it is the part that I wanted to impart upon you so that you can take this and apply it to your goals. Let's say you're struggling with a goal, or let's say you have a goal that you've set and it's big. It's a big goal. And you have a hard time seeing yourself accomplishing that. So let's say you're in sales and you say, I'm gonna sell X amount. I'm gonna sell 5 homes this month. Big, right? Big. Or is it? You see, because there's someone that's selling 10, and there's someone that's selling 20. You see, there's also someone that's selling 1. Or income. Some people, you know, their income goal would be $100,000 a year. And there's also people that are making $100,000 a minute, $100,000 in a month. And so when you set a goal and it's so big and massive that you can't see yourself accomplishing that, multiply it by 10. Because the goal isn't big nor small. It's only your thinking that makes it so. And apply that to everything. And suddenly it gives a perspective that we haven't had before. Remove the label and just observe it. It just is. It just is. There's nothing good nor bad except for our thinking that makes it so. And then the uninitiated, this is going to be a hard one for many because they're going to automatically kick in. Their knee-jerk reaction right now might be, Kevin, you're wrong. Think about it. Back away from it for a second. Even your thoughts about this video, you're running it through the filter of your paradigm, because your paradigm controls the way that you view the world, the way that you're viewing this video, the way that you're perceiving this information, the way whether or not you're going to take this law of relativity and apply it immediately to something in your life like a goal, or you're going to discard it. And you could be discarding it because maybe you think that I lack credibility or that this is just a bunch of nonsense. I'll have you know, this one piece about this is that I didn't make this stuff up, nor did I make anything up that I'm sharing. I've been fortunate enough to have stumbled across, and it only took me 45 years to find it, but I was seeking a blueprint for success, a way that I could learn how to be more, do more, and have more in a predictable way so that I could prove the concept and then teach others how to do the same. And they're based on the immutable laws of the universe. So I don't have a say in the matter. They're going to work in my life or yours no matter what, regardless if you believe them or not. And so the event that we had this last weekend was The Science of Getting Rich, based on Wallace D. Wells' book. If you don't have it, pick it up. It's actually a small read, but that does not have anything to do with anything. My point is that it's powerful and profound. They did an entire live stream event last weekend, May 1, 2, and 3. And usually these live streams are so jam-packed, and this one was too, but they cut off the recording so you have access to it for a couple weeks. This time you have access to it for 60 days. And that means that it's still available. And I highly encourage you. I'm going to be creating a meetup group. Will be a mastermind group for those that attended, that the registrants that actually attended, and I was the one that invited them. We're going to be masterminding on the principles such as the law of relativity and everything else that we've learned throughout the event for the next couple weeks. And I'm going to give you a link on that in the next video I do. In fact, I'll throw it below. The link to that meetup group will be below. It'll be called the Science of Getting Rich Mastermind. Get on that, and here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn this, but in a deeper way. We're going to go deeper on these concepts. Plus, we'll hear from everybody that registered for the event and attended it, and you'll really begin to see what type of expansion of your awareness can happen.